Hello everyone, my name is Edward. You are in Armenia now. Now is February. Please keep it in your mind, it's very important fact, which about you will know further. I will tell you a story which will amaze you, and you will be astonished. The event I am going to tell you happened in 2004 in Los Angeles, United States of America, where I lived for 6 years. For you, I can tell that there is a huge Armenian diaspora in Los Angeles if you don't know about it. As I told, I have been lived in United States for 6 years and was working as a technical support engineer in a laboratory. My work was about to observe all technical equipment in that place and to follow the planned working lines of the gadgets. Our laboratory was a secret governmental object which was specified as a sphere of technical inventions. In that years, we were testing a new generation touchscreens. We wanted to make people's life more and much more easier. In a secret, I can tell you that all inventions that you use or are going to use are already exist in military services and in army, the way longer before you'll know about them. Our laboratory was top secret, and I appeared there very randomly. I just called to one job with very low payment. I went to United States when I won green card, so I needed a job and was ready to accept any proposal. So this was the way how I appeared there. That was a laboratory in a building which was located in a very evident place. It was visible as an ordinary office, and nobody could consider it as a secret governmental organization. I always was a very open person, and finding friendship or just good relationships in any place was only a question of some weeks for me. So I was very close in touch with my colleagues. The best friend of mine was James. James was a scientist and our top inventor. He was working on equipments, most of which you know as brand new gadgets. You will never see a persons like James on TV, hear about them on radio, or read how they get a Nobel Prize. The reason is that the people like James are not showman scientists. They are working on real projects for government rated as top secret. Other scientists, whom about you know, are just a mask to cover real projects that are doing for military, space, and weapons for army. You know, as James used to say, even my wife think that I am working on some ecological regeneration machine. The honor of James was a really big summary. I don't want to say the correct quantity of money, but I will compare James' payment with some country's budget. Now you will ask why I'm talking about him so much. Because he has a very big role in my history. I am sharing you with you now. We will work till 7 p.m., but the scientists till 6 p.m. You know, I had never seen James went home in that hour. He always stayed late working on his projects. About such persons as James, there is saying he is mad of his job. Once I had to go late because one of computers had some problems and I had to fix it. It was already 10 p.m. When I was going home, suddenly I saw how James went out from the building carrying a huge equipment with him. I stood back for him not to notice me. but he caught my sight. James freezed for a moment, then put it into his car and moved away. In the next day he asked me, did someone else saw him? I told him nobody except me. Then he asked if I told about it to anyone. Of course I said no, he was my friend and I couldn't think anything else before I'd speak to him. So James invited me to dinner in the evening after our walk. So the walk hour was over, and he came to my room. We got up to his car and went to a luxury restaurant. Then he finally starts to speak and told that yesterday he carried out from the laboratory an equipment on which he was working during this last 1 year. It was only part of a huge machine. James told me that he wants me to be his assistant, because I was not like that ordinary Americans who are afraid to break the rules. We went out from the restaurant, sat into the car, and after half an hour we came to a cottage. During all the time on road I was giving questions, but James' answers were always the same. You'll understand everything when we reach the place. So finally we entered that cottage. He told that he bought this home special for his experiments, and nobody knows about it. The home was fully empty and windows were closed with black sheets from inside. Then I followed him to a room we entered, and I saw that the machine was like some futuristic project, with big metallic chair, many wires and flasks with strange liquid inside. That was the time machine. He was telling me how difficult it was to find details, what titanic efforts he made to build this. I didn't know what to say and was just listening to his words. We went to the room opposite and he showed me an electronic generator, which he was carrying out from the laboratory last night. Then I asked him, what should I do and how should I help him? James told that he wants me to be an experimental rat and do the time travel. I was shocked and denied his proposal, but then he told me that after my journey he will resolve my problem about citizenship, and I would become an American citizen. At the time I have difficulties because of that and couldn't earn enough money for my life. Besides it, as everyone, I had my American dream too. So let me tell you about main theme. Yes, as you have guessed, I accepted his proposal. I sat down on that metallic chair and he gave me a strange gadget. He told me that it's a special camera with help of which I'd be able to make photos from the future. So he pressed the button and told, have a good flight to the year 5000. I appeared to a place. It was unbelievable. I was standing on a huge wooden platform. Not only me, houses, buildings, vehicles, of course, all made from wood. And after, I realized it was the same city, Los Angeles, but underwater. Yes, it was fluid and the whole city was underwater. And people living on the water. On that enormous wooden platforms, suddenly a man came to me. He was like an prehistorical human. He came and asked, am I from Zone? I said that I was from the year 2004. He told to follow him. We entered to one of that wooden houses and there was a man sitting in the middle. As I guessed, he was the leader of that group of people. I told him that came from the year 2004. He wanted a proof from me. I showed him the camera James gave me before my trip, and he started to believe in my words. Then we went to separated room, of course from wood, and he began to tell how the flood starts and reasons of that post-apocalyptic situation. That all was because of global warming. The pieces of ice in both poles, south and north, had been melted, and the world dropped under the water. The flood happened because of too much quantity of CO2 in atmosphere, which step by step destructed the natural shield zone, which was holding the negative rays of sun. His name was Zach. He was living with his wife and children. He also told me how terrifying became the life after that. One of the influences of flood was increased level of crime. People were killing each other without any reason, just because of some piece of bread or little bottle of clear water. Humanity became a creatures more look like a beast than a man. The civilization was stopped. Billions of people died. I went out from the house, went to the border of that wooden platform, took up the camera James given me, and make a photo of underwater Los Angeles. Then Zach came to me and we started to walk among the wooden city. People were living with colonies there. Little or big, it doesn't matter. They were starving. But the main problem was the lack of pure drink water. And the flood was because of melted ice and increased level of seas and oceans. As you know, you can't drink the water from the oceans. And even in nowadays, we hadn't much stocks of pure water. The reserves of it are going less and less. Imagine now what was happening in the year 5000 when I was there. The problem of pure water came with many additional things. For example, many diseases, infections. The life there was in very low level. The virus of Rushmore also was dominated. No, they called it Rushmore because that virus came from that place. Zach told me that despite of low level of life quality, they are almost immortal. Because before the flood, the civilization of human beings was on top of his development. Do you know how old was Zach? As he told me, he was born in the year 4002. Can you imagine that? Just after 2 years, he would be 1,000 years old man. And despite of unhealthy looks, they were fresh on body and face. Then I asked to Zach how they achieved to such kind of degradation of humanity. How it happened. If Zach was telling me the truth, so how couldn't the government predict the flood? After his answer, I was shocked and I didn't know what to answer. I was freezed with eyes wide open. So, what happened? In 4028 year, the leaders of the world made a decision. Why spend so much money on humans? Why pay for their safety, work, education, insurance? Why spend time and life and serving to people? As if they have money, the power, technology, science, and almost eternal life to live. And they made decision to just fly away from the planet Earth to another planet, another galaxy. Just in a year, they made their plans come true. population of humans was 11 billion. 4.5 billion left the earth. Otherwise, the last 6.5 billion were abandoned by rich and influential humans. Abandoned to starvation, weakness, the great flood, and eternal suffering. We were walking with Zach when we heard the young man was blaming his father because of his life. He was crying and asking for death. Maybe because of that my eyes got dark. I felt my head spinning, and when I opened my eyes, I was at the James rooms again. Again in 2004. James was sitting in front of me. I was still under effect and immediately gave him the camera and told about everything I saw and observed in the year 5000. And now the most interesting information. Here is it. The photo of the flooded city. I took it with me as a guarantee of solving the question about my citizenship. But you know what? A few weeks later, I came back to my homeland, to Armenia, because I wanted to be as much far as I can from that memories, governmental projects, and time machine. By the way, do you remember I told you to keep one information at start? I told you to remember that it's February now. So look here. Look at this place. Sunny and warm weather. Like early spring, yes? We are in Armenia, in Darkazor city. It's February now. Usually, in this time period, the climate is very rude here, and we had cold winter. The cold comes up to 104 Fahrenheit, but not now. Global warmness already comes. So, after 100 years, we'll be in same danger. The apocalypse will cover with water every corner of the planet Earth. The great flood will be. Thank you to hear my story. I'm good to share it with you, of course with help of Apex TV. Stay in peace and think about what I told. Thank you.